The last story I have for you starts 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I was on a very early flight. Not unusual for me. I'm on a lot of flights. But that morning, I was exhausted. I was burnt out. I was at the airport at 4 a.m. I'd been on the road constantly for months. I just wasn't having it. And I was wearing I travel all the time. If you travel a lot, and some of you I can tell you do, if you travel a lot, you probably get into the rhythm of wearing the same clothes all the time, kind of travel clothes, like the stuff you're comfortable in on the planes. And I was wearing my ripped Express jeans. This is what I used to wear. I was wearing my ripped Express jeans, the one with the really expensive holes. You know, how much money can I pay for the least amount of jeans? Those jeans. I was wearing my zip-up hoodie. Pro tip, planes are getting smaller and smaller. Pullovers are hard to get on and off. You can zip-up hoodie. Also, some planes too warm, some planes too cold. Regulate your own temperature. That'll be the best thing you hear all day. Some people are writing that down. So I was wearing my zip-up hoodie, my ripped Express jeans, and a fedora. So I get onto the plane, and I go to give, I look at my boarding pass, and I have the last seat on the plane. I don't know if you ever sat on the last seat on the plane before. I never had before. I never will again. And I get all the way to the back of the plane, and I'm tired, and I'm just gross, and the bathroom is right there, and you can smell it already. It's making me, I'm getting like nauseated, and I look, and my seatmate is already here. Elegantly dressed businesswoman, black pantsuit, pixie haircut. And I'm just like gross, and I'm sweating, and I don't feel good. You know, I feel like apologizing as you sit next to somebody. So I sit next to her, and I'm just not even. I don't want to deal with it. And the pilot comes on. He goes, "How you doing, folks?" Now, if you travel a lot, that is a red flag because pilots don't chat unless there's something wrong. So he comes on. I hear the pilot introduce himself, and I'm like, "This is not." So he tells us it's gonna be a 30, 45-minute delay because someone forgot to put the wing on or whatever, and That's all I hear in that moment, isn't it? So I'm just about to put my headphones on. I'm having none of this morning. I'm about to put on my headphones, and I never do that. I never do that because I like to meet people. You get that sense from me. But I'm having none of this morning. So I'm just about to put on my earbuds, and I hear this. I like your hat. It's the lady sitting next to me. She goes, I noticed back in the terminal, I thought it'd be kind of weird to come up to a stranger, but since we're sitting next to each other, I just wanted to let you know that I like your hat. Hi, I'm Zoe. She introduced herself. Brightened my morning, shook her hand, we start chatting. Eventually, we had the conversation you always have when you're flying. I said, where are you going? She said, Minneapolis. I said, what for? She said, a conference. I said, what kind of a conference? She said, marketing. I said, oh, what do you do? She said, I'm a professor of influence and persuasion at Yale University, Dr. Zoe Chance. I was like, what? That was the coolest job title I've ever heard. Professor of influence and persuasion? There's no way your name is actually Dr. Chance. That has got to be something you made up. She said, where are you going? I said, Minneapolis. She said, what for? I said, a conference. She said, what kind of a conference? I said, entertainment. And she said, well, what do you do? I said, I'm a magician. She goes, no. I said, yeah. She goes, I love magicians. I was like, no, you don't. Nobody loves magicians. She goes, I'm a professor of influence and persuasion. Magicians are my jam. So we talked in the whole flight. We got along famously. She gave me her card. She said, when you get back to Connecticut, you got to tell me when your next show is back in Connecticut. I told her it's about 2 months from now. She said, I'll be there. I said, okay. I'm never going to hear from this lady again. And 2 months later, she was right there in the audience. Came up after the show and said, that was so much fun. I have to bring you into Yale to be a guest speaker. And I said, okay. I'm never going to hear from this lady again. And 2 months later, I was a guest speaker at Yale University, one of the most prestigious institutions in the world. We became friends, colleagues of sorts. A few years later, I was invited to give a TEDx talk, and a tiny little TEDx talk. I called up my friend Zoe. I said, can you help me write this? She said, absolutely, help me write it. A few months later, I gave it. As you heard, it became one of the most popular TEDx talks of all time, very quickly, went viral. I started getting calls from people all over the world to come speak and do magic. And one of those came from the United States Navy. They said, will you come overseas and do a tour for the troops and their families on military bases all over the world? I said, absolutely. So all of a sudden, I was in Europe. I was in Spain and Italy. And then one day in Italy, I'm in Naples. And they said, I had a day off. And they said, would you like to go visit Pompeii? Well, I'm not good at geography or history. Pompeii is the ancient city covered in ash by Mount Vesuvius. I'm in Naples. Mount Vesuvius is outside my window. I'm like, yes. So we go up to Pompeii. You pay like $2, and you get to just walk around this ancient city. And I ducked down this alleyway, and it emptied out onto a massive outdoor amphitheater. And I realized I was standing on a stage, the same stage where thousands of years ago, my ancestors in entertainment, performers and actors and comedians, they entertained their audiences. And it was a surreal moment in my life. A moment that only existed because 5 years ago, one stranger said to me, "I like your hat." You have no idea what kind of opportunities await you just on the other side of that next connection. Our world is truly a shared experience. Imagine if we could all feel understood. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon, guys. Thank you. Trying to make my way, knocking on every